What's up, everybody? I'm Ryan Thomas. Welcome to part 2 of the Thomas Take Sports podcast. I'm going to get right to it. If you haven't checked out my post-game recap, there was so much to cover in that Super Bowl. I'm doing another part to it where I picked up, where I left off. Every play after that first 6-yard gain on the final drive in overtime was a Tom Brady first down pass. The pass interference call covering Bennett was just that. James White had a hell of a day. He was the hero of the Patriots offense along with Tom Brady. White plays that same Kevin Falk role that the Patriots continue to fill. And 2 years ago, I posted a picture of Tom Brady on Instagram, and I got so much heat for it. So say what you want, and you can definitely have people that agree or disagree, but you can disagree with this. Tom Brady is one of the best to ever play the game. People can agree to that now. Whether you think he's the greatest of all time or not, that's another story. But Brady ranks inside the top 3. If anybody puts him outside of the top 3, they're haters. I mean, look at the body of work that Tom Brady has had. 25-9 career postseason record. The winningest postseason player at any position. Obviously, the winningest postseason quarterback. He's won more games as a starter than any player at any position. He's putting himself in the category of not just being the greatest quarterback of all time. He's putting himself in a category of one of the greatest football players to ever play the game. Putting himself in line with Jerry Rice, the Jim Browns, the Lawrence Taylors. Tom Brady is on the verge of being in that group. To me, he already is, but to public opinion, he might not be. I think he's already in that group all time. When people want to put a roster together as far as who do they want all time on an all-time roster, that's my guy. That's who I'm picking every single time. When I want a quarterback, that's the quarterback that I want. He's not the most athletic. He's not mobile whatsoever. But smarts and heart is what Tom Brady carries every single year, week in and week out. At 39 years old, he'll be 40 in August. What's next? I kind of previewed that a little bit. And I wanted to continue. I went off track a little bit. He leads the Patriots every single year, and they contend every single year for a Super Bowl. I really don't think a deflated football would have anything to do with as far as contributing to the result of the season that he had last year and the Patriots winning the Super Bowl, and more importantly, his amazing career. When it is all said and done, he will be a slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer, obviously, no matter what. Now that this is all over, let's focus on what matters, and that's the game. I expect the Patriots to do what they have done with Brady every year, and that's one thing: win. They've won 2 Super Bowls in the wake of this whole Deflategate scandal. And I don't know if the balls were deflated in that Super Bowl, but he threw for 466 yards. I don't know if the balls were deflated in that AFC Championship game in the second half, because the balls were taken away after the first half. They won that game 45-7. One of the most lopsided AFC Championship games since that of the 1990 Buffalo Bills versus the Oakland Raiders. So just the whole story in general is one of the dumbest stories that I have ever experienced. And my hate for Doug Whaley just continues to grow, because his one weapon that he relied on 3rd and 10 was Chris Hogan. He made clutch catch after clutch catch in the Super Bowl. He had a day in that AFC Championship game. He put up 9 catches, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns. And I honestly think, and when I saw that, when Chris Hogan had the big game that he had, it forced Atlanta to focus on Chris Hogan more than they necessarily needed to, more than they necessarily should have, drawing the focus off of guys like Danny Amendola and James White and even Julian Edelman a little bit. More so James White and Danny Amendola, though. And Malcolm Mitchell, who made several clutch catches. I made the joke, if I saw Doug Whaley waiting for a cab on the street, I would pretend I was the cab, the cab driver, take him to the parking lot and throw hands. You just can't fix stupid. I mean, I'm not being literal when I say that. I'm obviously kidding. But that is one of the worst moves that the Bills have made. And I had real fear that he would end up on a team like Green Bay or New England and end up being a catalyst for their offense. And he was. So thanks, Doug Whaley. And so happy to see Chris Hogan has a ring. Thank you. Thank you, Chris Hogan, for continuing to prove that Doug Whaley is an idiot. One of the many reasons why Doug Whaley is an idiot. So that was another side note. On to the other side. Matt Ryan handled the loss with pure class. I really think Atlanta will be back eventually. Maybe not next year, but maybe the year after. A report just came out recently that obviously Kyle Shanahan will be taking the job with the San Francisco 49ers. Now, Steve Sarkisian, who's the offensive coordinator for Alabama, will be heading to Atlanta, reportedly. And that's a great transitional hire to put Sarkisian in there with the deep run game. Sarkisian's a good run game based offensive coordinator. I think Atlanta really needed. You have a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl, and you run the ball 5 times from that point on. 5. What was Kyle Shanahan trying to prove? What was it that was he trying to prove that he was going to beat this team, bury him? Was he trying to run it up a little bit on the Patriots? I honestly don't know. What I do know is that Matt Ryan is obviously one of the top 5 best quarterbacks in this game. For my money, and I'll take some heat for this, but for my money, I would easily choose Matt Ryan over Aaron Rodgers. And I'll tell you why. Every time there is an injury within the Atlanta organization, mostly with Julio Jones, Matt Ryan doesn't miss a beat. That playoff game, obviously Atlanta versus Green Bay, Matt Ryan showed up, Aaron Rodgers did not. Matt Ryan showed up in this Super Bowl. He made several great throws, but they didn't need him to be dropping back on 3rd and 1 to pass when they needed to just get the first down and continue to keep the clock running. This game, them losing this game, is not Matt Ryan's fault whatsoever. And I personally like Matt Ryan better as a passer. I think he's more of a natural leader than Aaron Rodgers. I'd take Matt Ryan over Aaron Rodgers. He won the MVP. He's had just as many great seasons as Aaron Rodgers, if not more. It's just the fact that he hasn't really been in the limelight. He's not the name that Aaron Rodgers is. He doesn't do the discount double check. Matt Ryan just focuses on the game. I do think Atlanta will be back. Matt Ryan and Julio Jones together forever. That's a winning combination. That defense is young. If I was a Falcons fan, and I'm speaking directly to the 2 Falcons fans that I know, Eric Van Wyck and TJ Fulcher, if I was either one of them, I would think of it this way. Falcons fans, it was the first trip. They know what it takes to get there, and now they can go back to the drawing board and fix what went wrong. There was a lot that did go wrong. The fact that you ran the ball 5 times, again, upon taking the lead in this game 28-3, is disturbing to say the least. The fact that they continued to make holding penalties. They had 3 holding penalties on one drive, which allowed New England to get 3 first downs. It's a tough pill to swallow. It's a tough pill to swallow. They had to run the ball 3 times, even if they lost yards. They were on the 22, thanks to that great catch by Julio Jones. I think they have a great coach. I think Dan Quinn is a great coach. He's coached up that defense with young talent like Vic Beasley and Keanu Neal, as I mentioned in the preview to the Super Bowl. But I look forward to seeing Atlanta come back. This is a great game, though. This is a great game. It'll live in infamy forever. It's the greatest Super Bowl comeback of all time. And this is amazing. I'm looking at all my statuses that I posted. It's on the record. I said Atlanta would get a 2-possession lead and Tom Brady would lead a comeback to victory. Let's see if the second half part is right. This is the Super Bowl I wanted it to be. Don't ever, ever, ever count Tom Brady out. And at 9:17, I posted that the Super Bowl was a big letdown. It was a big letdown. That first half was terrible. Brady has come back from 21 before. I posted that at 7:55. When he is not hit and knocked down, he is hit and pressured. That hurts any quarterback. It's an amazing game. But I've said this before. I said this last year when the Broncos beat the Panthers. The Super Bowl is the most opportunity knocks game. Whoever wins the turnover battle usually wins the game. In this case, the team that lost the turnover battle won the game. Patriots had 2 turnovers. The Falcons had 1. But penalties. Patriots had 4 for 23 yards. Atlanta had 9 for 65 yards. It's a bit of a difference. To say the least. The Falcons punted 6 times. The Patriots only punted 4 times. The kickoff return, where the Falcons kick returner returned it and he ran directly to the sideline. You go back to that. That really perplexed me. The calls that the Patriots made in the first half, let's go towards that. What plays did the Patriots call that were stupid? That Martellus Bennett screen pass? Everything about this game was so off in the first half. Between the Patriots looking flat and really Atlanta wasn't doing a whole lot offensively to win the game. They had that pick 6. They had a turnover. It forced another turnover that allowed a touchdown with that fumble. So really offensively they scored 28 points, but offensively they scored 21 of those 28 points. So really, and inside those possessions, they were inside the 40. They had great field position. They weren't really allowed or given the chance to run the clock. And when they did have the chance, they didn't run down the clock. They continued to throw the ball. I don't know if they wanted to just bury the Patriots. They thought that they could just run it up. But it was a crazy display to watch, to see a team that was running the ball so successfully. Were they afraid that Devontae Freeman was going to fumble the ball? Were they afraid that there was going to be some sort of a turnover? I don't know. There's no way of knowing why Kyle Shanahan would continue to allow them to throw when Matt Ryan and company probably thought that they should have been running the ball to run the clock down. 8 minutes and 31 seconds left in the third quarter. That means there's 22 roughly minutes left in the game, 23 minutes left in the game. They continue to throw it and take sacks, fumble, turn the ball over. It was a disaster. It was an epic collapse by the Falcons, and it was a superb comeback by the Patriots. One that we'll be talking about this Super Bowl forever. Like this Super Bowl will be in the history books. And all the people that blamed the fact that Tom Brady was winning these games on deflated footballs, I don't even know. You must think that aliens are real, that the Tooth Fairy is real, that Santa is real. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you. Thomas Take Sports Podcast Part 3. I'm going to talk about the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to call it the Buffalo Bills Blitz segment of the show. We're going to go over the leftover staff. What is left over of Rex Ryan's staff? Nobody. Sean McDermott brought in his guys. I'm going to go through the list top to bottom of the McDermott staff on the Buffalo Bills. So tune in for that. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be right back.